Hey everyone, Robert here, author of Expansion Mastery, the practical guide to living a fully engaged life. Are you ready to start living life to the fullest? Are you ready and willing to transform yourself and your life from ordinary to extraordinary? Welcome, my friends, to the Fully Engaged Life. Welcome back, my friends, and thank you. Thank you for tuning in again to the Fully Engaged Life. So today we're going to pick up where we left off in this new series, where I am going through and expanding upon and guiding you through the various challenges in my book, Expansion Mastery. So this time we are going to be looking at the heaven section. And this is the third exercise in the esoteric section, but overall, this is the seventh exercise. So what we're going to be dealing with today is a Qigong exercise, and this is very difficult to teach in a brief audio format, but I'm going to do my best to help you through this exercise. The first thing I want to address is this. A lot of Westerners are very quick to dismiss the idea of Qi. And whether you call it Qi or Ki or prana, it doesn't matter. But this sense of a vital life force, it's not some magical, mystical energy force thing like you see in the movies. But it is the vital life force that permeates everything living. And this is recognized through nearly, if not every, single authentic spiritual system throughout the world. Every culture has this idea. And the purpose of a Qigong exercise is to actually get in touch with this life force so you can feel it for yourself, and then you can learn to interact with it. But the most important thing is to feel it. And you will notice by the name, whether it's Qi, Ki, Prana, so on and so forth, that this vital life force is also related to the breath. Therefore, breathing is an essential component in any Qigong type of exercise. So I would ask this of you. Whether or not you believe in Qi doesn't really matter. As a matter of fact, if you do, what I would ask you to do is suspend your belief about it. Okay? Whatever you think it is, whatever you believe it to be, suspend that. Open yourself to something new. What if it's something different than what you believe it to be? And if you don't believe in it, again, open your mind. Open yourself up to the possibility that maybe it does exist. Maybe it is something, and maybe you are capable of actually feeling it. I know from doing energy healing on patients for many years that they were able to feel the Qi, the Ki, the prana that I was emitting. And they would describe it to me. I usually ask them to do that, and then I've kept a record of that. And some people perceived it as heat, pressure, cold, you name it. They've felt it physically. There was a physical sensation associated with the energy healing. I'll share a personal example with you here from my own experience, and this is kind of fun, so don't take it too seriously, but it does illustrate the point I'm trying to make, that there was a point in my life many years ago where I was going through many, many challenging changes. And I would go to a bar and sit and have a beer, usually a shot of tequila and a beer. And I would relax. I was under a lot of stress and pressure from so many different angles at that moment in my life. And so I would just sit by myself and try and relax and unwind and sort all these things out. And one evening, I was sitting at a bar reading and enjoying a beer. And I noticed that the bartender was a young lady that had her hand bandaged. And I asked her what happened to her hand. And she said that a dog had bitten her and it was extremely painful. And I said, "Are you in pain right now?" And she said, "Well, yeah, of course." And it's just my instinct to want to help. I really enjoy alleviating the pain of others. So I asked her, I said, "How would you like to hold out your hand?" And I'm going to place my hand under it and over it without making any physical contact. And I'm going to see if some of that discomfort goes away. She was very quick to inform me that she didn't believe in any of that energy type stuff. And she was very skeptical of the whole thing, which I didn't blame her. But I said, "Hey, what have you got to lose, right? Just put your hand out for a few moments and let's see what happens." And she looked at me with a very uncertain look in her eyes for a moment. And to put her at ease, I said, "All right, let's make it interesting. How about if I can alleviate some of your pain, you buy me a beer. And if I don't, I'll buy you a beer." She reluctantly agreed. So she took the dressing off, and I worked on this, holding a hand underneath hers and a hand over hers. And then I projected healing energy, and I watched as her eyes started to get wide, and she says, "Where's the heat coming from?" And I just smiled, and she goes, "Feels like there's pressure. Feels like you're pushing on my hand with both of your hands." She said, "But you're nowhere near me. You're a couple inches either way from my hand." And I just smiled. And she goes, "Oh my God, that feels so much better." And her fingers would twitch a little bit now and then. And she says, "Oh my gosh, that feels a lot better. That is such a relief." And she was busy. She was at work, right? So I did this in about 3 minutes. And then she was moving her hand a little bit, and she goes, "Wow, even the discoloration is better," and things like that. And so I just smiled, and I said, I'll take that beer." And she happily bought me a beer. So then I found out, hey, I can get free beer by going to a bar and doing energy tricks, right? So I did that a few times, not a lot, but I did that here and there. And it was interesting because none of these people believed in that sort of thing. And yet afterwards, they had to open themselves up to the possibility that it existed because they experienced it, they felt it for themselves. So the point of that story is not to go out and do energy tricks for free beer. But the point of that story is to help you understand that this is something that we can actually feel. It requires conscious awareness on our part, and it requires a degree of physical sensitivity on our part. And that's part of the purpose of this particular Qigong exercise in my book. And this particular exercise is working with the 3 dantian, or the 3 centers in the body according to Taoist theory. And I'm going to give you a tremendous secret to succeeding with this sort of practice. The key is this: we need to be able to feel this life force within ourselves. We need to feel it moving. We need to feel it. And if we try to feel it, if we are mentally looking for a feeling, it will elude us, remaining hidden. If, however, we're able to simply relax into the practice and engage the practice without expectations, without trying, if we just engage the practice and stay open to feeling, stay open to developing this higher sense of sensitivity to where we can feel things, then all we have to do is become aware of that feeling when it starts to develop in our body. This is how you succeed with this sort of practice. In the West here, we have a saying that a watched pot never boils. You understand? That's the same philosophy. If you're watching it, if you're looking for it, if you're trying to get it, it's never going to happen. But if you just relax and allow it, then it happens. And then all you have to do is become aware of it. How easy is that? Just be aware of it, be able to feel it, and you've got it. Then you will know for yourself that it's real. And I ask anyone I work with to make sure that you are not just accepting it as truth because I or anyone else tells you it is. It is not true until you have your own direct personal experience with it. Then you will know it as truth. The other thing that prevents people from succeeding with this is some of them have doubt about it going into it, and they've already made up their mind as to the fact that they don't believe it, so nothing's going to happen. Well, you're sealing your failure for certain. So you have to open up to the possibility that this could exist. And the other thing that prevents our success with this sort of practice is that we don't relax enough to develop a higher degree of sensitivity for our body. And today, so many people are disconnected from their physical form, stuck in their heads, that they can't feel it. So then they think that it's fake. No, the sensation is there. You're just incapable of feeling it because you're too tense, or you're stuck in your head, or you just simply haven't developed a level of sensitivity within your physical body to pick up on the sensation. And this exercise is designed to help you do that in the process. So for this practice, we're going to do it seated. So make sure and find yourself a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed. Get rid of the phone. And make sure that you're relaxing into whatever physical position you're sitting in. Now, we have to understand with any breathing exercise or any Qigong form, posture is absolutely crucial to our success. So make sure that your knees are below your hips. Make sure that your spine is absolutely straight. You can use a chair or even sit against a wall if you need to. And make sure that your head and neck are raised, your chin is tucked slightly, and make sure that your shoulders are down and relaxed. Now, you can either close your eyes or you can leave them half open. Usually for a Qigong exercise, holding your eyes open or half open is preferable, just like in meditation. And one reason is that when we close our eyes, the imagination has a tendency to kick in, which kicks in the mind. And then from there, we can oftentimes fall into delusion. We think because we're imagining it in our mind, seeing it in our mind, that it's actually happening in our body. And while sometimes this is the case, it is certainly not always the case, especially in the beginning. So we want to be very careful that we don't fall into this type of trap. Now, at this point, when you're seated, you're going to go from the external to the internal. For this particular form of Qigong, I like to use the breath bridge. So if you know how to do that, go ahead and do that. If you don't know how to do that, well, I'm going to hook you up in a very short time here when I release the breath mastery program that I'm working on. I have an absolutely incredible module dedicated entirely to the breath bridge. So it will be in your hands shortly, and you'll be able to master that particular breathing technique in no time. If you don't know how to use that, or you don't have a specific method, then just focus on taking deep, relaxing breaths and trying to just relax your mind. Allow it to just relax. Allow the thoughts to kind of fade and settle. Allow everything to just settle and center yourself. You're going to begin by focusing your attention in your abdomen. Okay, the area around the navel, which is the lower dantian center. It's located usually somewhere around 2 inches or so below the navel, 2 to 3 inches, and about 1.5 inches or so behind it, in towards the center of the body. Everybody's a little different, but that's a rule of thumb. So this gives you an indicator of the place, the actual physical place that the physical sensation will end up manifesting. It helps if you know a little bit of what area this is going to happen in. So this is the first one that we're going to focus on. This is where you should feel it. As we begin, what we're going to do is, if you're a beginner, you can close your eyes and use visualization. If you're more advanced, you can leave your eyes open and just contemplate this idea of a glowing, bright, golden light in this area of your abdomen. And if another color comes up, sometimes silver will come up, or blue or white or whatever. That's fine. Go with whatever color tends to pop into your consciousness. It doesn't really make a difference. Gold is usually considered the color of divine healing, but again, it's not a big deal. Okay, so what we are after here is the actual physical sensation of this, not some fluffy visualization aspect, right? So we're just using this sort of thing to activate this vital life force in order to allow us to feel it. And then what you're going to do is just either envision through your visualization technique, or you're just going to contemplate the idea of energy rising up from the earth center through the ground in through your perineum. And the perineum, of course, is this spot located between your genitals and your anus. And it's going to rise up through your body into this lower center. And you're going to just see, if you're visualizing, a gold shimmering light or whatever color it happens to be. If your eyes are open, what you're trying to do is connect with this and to draw this energy up and to feel it. So what it is, this is just the life force of the planet, and you're going to work at interacting with that life force. And then you're going to hold your mental focus on that in that area. And then with every breath that you take, you're going to imagine this area pulsing and growing with this bright golden light, this energy that's rising up into you. And as you may have imagined by now, this requires you to be breathing through the abdomen, or diaphragmatic breathing. You need to be moving the abdomen. See, it's the movement of the abdomen that helps to pulse and stimulate this naturally. And this is going to help awaken this center and help allow you to tune into this physical sensation of your vital life force. So then the difficult part of this, the challenging part of this exercise, is to maintain that feeling. It may feel warm to you. Hopefully, that's usually how it comes about for me, is it feels warm in that area. So I try to keep a sense of mental awareness in that area and hold that feeling. And at the same time, I'm going to direct part of my awareness now upwards into my head. Yes, you can do this. It's easy to have awareness in every single part of your body. It's not a difficult task. If it is difficult, then you're not quite ready for a Qigong exercise like this. So you might want to practice some of the earlier things. But if you've been practicing some of these things, then chances are you're ready. So you're going to hold a secondary sense of awareness in your lower abdomen, and you're going to move your primary awareness up into your head. So you're going to come up through your body. Don't just think of it flying right up into your head, but moving up into your body, into the area of your forehead, in the middle of your head, right? This is where the upper dantian is located. You're going to use either the visualization or contemplation in order to have this bright, glowing, golden light in your head, right? This is what is often symbolized as a halo. Western religions have the ring around the head as a halo, and Eastern religions have a tendency to have this circle behind the head or around the head as a halo. Both of those are halos. So you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to breathe in and out. You're going to pulse it, have this grow and shine around your head, creating this sensation in your head. So chances are you will feel it in your third eye, in your forehead. You'll feel it in the center of your head, that sort of thing. And if you have your eyes closed and you're visualizing gold, and suddenly it turns to a deep purple. That's all right. Okay, that's good. So let that happen if it does. Don't try and force it, but allow it to happen if it does. And you're just going to hold that and breathe a little bit. Once you do that, you're going to try and hold a sense of awareness for your lower abdomen as well as your head. So now the upper and lower centers, as you allow that to sink down into the center of your chest, into your heart area. This is the middle dantian. So now we're going to do that. And then you do the same thing. You either visualize or you contemplate this gold shimmering light in that area pulsing and getting strong. And the idea is you have all three of these and they're getting brighter and stronger, and this makes your aura brighter and stronger and pulsating with this golden healing light all around you. And then when you do this until you can actually feel physical sensations. Maybe you only feel a physical sensation in the belly. Maybe you only feel it in the chest. Maybe you only feel it in the head. Maybe you feel it 2 out of 3 or whatever. It's fine. Ideally, you keep practicing this until you can feel it, actual physical sensations in all three areas. Something's going on. It feels warm. It feels cool. You may interpret it different ways, but warmth is the most common, especially when you're using this concept of golden light. And you get all three of these, and you just allow that feeling to be there, and you just think of expanding this golden light out from all directions of your aura. And then when you can do that and you're done, you've gone as far as you can in this particular set, then what you want to do is think of condensing each one of these. So what I usually do is then focus on condensing the golden energy in my head and dropping that energy down into my chest where it mixes, right? It becomes one with that that's in my chest, and then I condense that, and then I take it all down to the lower dantian. I condense it there, and then I just hold that and lightly put my hands on there, and you can rub in circles like 26 times clockwise and counterclockwise very carefully, or you can just put mild pressure there as a way to seal it, feel it condense there, and then just relax with a few breaths, and then allow the exercise to fade. And before you stand up, make sure and take a few minutes to relax and just breathe normally. Maybe start to move the physical body around, turning the waist, rotating the shoulders, rotating the neck very gently. And before you stand up, allow the energy to settle, because a lot of times what you find is when you do this, if you rise up, you can get very jittery or dizzy or nauseous because the energy is moving around in there, especially in the first year or so, maybe not quite that long depending how much you work with it, but be gentle with yourself and give it some time to adapt, because after you start working with it, it gets kind of wild and it needs to settle down again. So this is a very simple Qigong exercise, and you can see I've presented it here in a very practical manner. There's nothing fluffy about this. There's nothing mystical about it. There's nothing dogmatic about it. Okay? We are just trying to do an exercise to get in touch with the feeling of this energy. And we're going to use the breath in a way to pulse it in each one of these areas. So every time we breathe in, right, then the energy gets bigger and spreads out more, and then when we exhale, it comes in a little bit. Very basic abdominal breathing is what we're using with this to help activate and move the energy, the chi, the ki, the prana around a little bit. This is a pretty simple, direct way to start to begin to activate these things, at least interact with them, and be able to feel this life force for yourself. The most important thing is that you begin to actually feel it, that it's not just the product of delusional visualization or wishful thinking or something like that, that it's really there. It's a physical sensation that you are a little bit surprised by, right? If you're looking for it, then it's not going to happen or it'll be fake. But if you're actually just engaged in the breathing and trying to pulse this and just holding awareness, and all of a sudden you start to feel some things going on, that's when it's true. That's when you're having the experience. And that's what this particular Qigong exercise is designed to do. I find Qigong to be a very, very helpful form of practice. And I think today, in the times in which we live, with all of the stuff going on environmentally and the changes in the erratic behavior of the Earth's electromagnetic field, I think Qigong exercises need to be part of everyone's daily activity. So enjoy that exercise. It should be a little challenging, which is why I call these challenges, right? But at the same time, it should feel nice when you do it. Hey, now there may be some sensations. Sometimes when this comes up, it isn't all that pleasant at first. Hey, those people that kind of bliss out, yeah, that's reminiscent of falling victim to your own delusion. Hey, it's a little uncomfortable at first. You'll notice that. But then as you engage with it, it will become more and more pleasant until it does indeed feel very nice. But that's one of the big secrets of working with energy is this is what they don't want people to know, because they never tell you, oh, it hurts. It may be an unpleasant sensation in the beginning. As you open up and you activate this, you become aware of it. And they're afraid that that will deter people, right? But the truth of the matter is it can be a little uncomfortable in the beginning, but then it should smooth out, it should get comfortable, and then it should start to feel very nice. That's just the progression. But if you have an experience where it just starts out real nice, I would question that, and I would caution you against not questioning that. But again, it's your own experience, so interact with it and enjoy it. And if you'd like more details about it, all you have to do is look it up in Expansion Mastery, the practical guide to living a fully engaged life. I'd like to thank all of you who continue to share my podcast, getting authentic, practical spirituality out into the hands of the people. We need it now more than ever, and it allows us to work together to help facilitate this consciousness shift. None of us can do it alone. Only together can we accomplish this. So thank you for all of that support. And please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure and go on all the social media stuff. Do the likes, the shares. You know what to do. You're well versed in all of that. And most importantly, make sure that you are actually engaging these practices. Get involved. Do them consistently. Reap the benefits. I couldn't help but see John Lovett in a little devil costume when I said that. It's one of those podcasts, folks. So you have to love The Wedding Singer. Please make sure and stop by www.expansionmastery.com. Grab your autographed copy of Expansion Mastery, the practical guide to living a fully engaged life. That's the only place you're going to get an autographed copy unless you happen to see me in person. And you can also get the newly expanded and revised edition of Reinventing Yourself Through Realignment. It's a very, very popular ebook, and soon you will be able to begin downloading the first module. There's going to be 7 modules, and you will be able to download the first module of the Breathing Mastery program that I'm going to be putting out. So make sure and hit that website and put your information in so that you get all future updates and special offers. Until next time, my friends, I wish you the very best in your practices and especially your life. Take care.